Hello everybody, my name is Benjamin Bloom and welcome to this, the latest Championship review show up on the channel. We are up to game 17, international break number 3, and the landscape now is starting to make some sense as we head for the mad Christmas period that's about to come up. And it was a brilliant send-off. 36 goals in this week's round of games, and there was a couple of nil-nils, so a couple of very, very goal-heavy games. After this, 9 games between 23rd of November, when that game week starts, and the FA Cup, so 1st of January. So a massive period coming up. And who goes into that period top of the league? Norwich City. Who would have thought that after they drew at Ipswich back in, was it still in August or was it in the start of September? I don't quite recall. Amazing run for Norwich. They're in brilliant form, and there's something in the air now because everything seems to be going right for them. It's a 4-3 win at home to Millwall with 2 goals in injury time. Unbelievable stuff. So they're 2 points clear at the top now. 5 wins on the trot. Do we finally have a decent team now to pull the standard up, to get these big spending teams chasing them? Still not at 2 points per game, but a damn good effort by Norwich. So absolutely bonkers game this. Millwall 1-0 up at half time. 1-1 then. Norwich are still terrible at penalties. There we go. Still get that one in. 4th missed penalty of the season. 2-1 to Norwich on 79. Then, comically, with Norwich singing "We Are Top of the League," Millwall score immediately from kick-off for 2-2 and then go 3-2 up on 84 minutes. So Millwall think they've won. 3-3 on 91 from Rhodes. 4-3 on 96. Unbelievable stuff. Would have been a great game to be at, that one, I suppose, unless you're a Millwall fan. All the standard characters involved here. Pukki with 2, Rhodes with a goal. Jake Cooper with another assist. When are people going to start marking him at set plays? He just does it every time, doesn't he? So look, Norwich, as we mentioned, are in absolutely brilliant form. I think everyone would admit this is a bit of a surprise after Maddison left, and 3 or 4 players come in. Hernandez, Pukki, I think Hernandez was already there, but Pukki, Leitner gets signed full-time, Buendia, and it just seems like the sum of those parts is equal to greater than Mr. Maddison trying to win on his own last year. So brilliant for Norwich, brilliant for Falk. I'm not quite sure how he wasn't in the manager of the month thing for the last month, but I don't think managers really care too much about that stuff when they're top of the league. Look, we know there's other teams with bigger budget now, bigger wage spends. Norwich parachute payments have gone, and I don't know, I haven't checked the bookies. They're probably still not even favourites, but can they be the team now? I've been saying week after week, one team, just go and win, drag everyone along with you, set the standards. Will that be Norwich? Let me know what you think in the comments on that one. There's still winnable games for them after the international break as well, so they could stay there now. They've got that gap. Interesting stuff. Millwall probably thought they'd won this one. Come away with nothing. That's the way it goes, isn't it? And they still can't quite get away from the bottom 3. Millwall. I'm determined in my thinking that they're not going to end up in the bottom 5 or 6. I don't know whether they've left it now too late to make the mid-table. They seem to be too good for that, but they need to beat some people to prove it, because as I've said previously, the wins have come when they've met teams at bad times. So, and I mean, like I say, there's something in the air. No one's going to beat Norwich at the moment, even if they are 3-2 up with 6 minutes to go or what have you. So, very interesting stuff. Comment down there if you're a Norwich fan or a Millwall fan. I said home win. We suspected this would happen. Not quite in the way it did, but I will take the first correct prediction there. Boro 2, Wigan 0. Boro 2nd, Wigan 16th. Boro go back into the top 2 with their first win in 4. Hugill gets both the goals to get him off the mark. I still don't shoot me down if you're a Boro fan. I still get a sense of underachievement from Boro, even though they're second in the league and they've only lost 2 games. You still have a sense with that squad of players they could do more. Perhaps Hugill now might be the guy to provide the goals. Assombalonga doesn't seem to have been doing it. We've talked about the rock solid defence and the need to get the balance. Will they now go on a run? Now, if Norwich can set the standard, will they now go on the run and make the chase similar to they had at the start of the season, where we thought no one's going to get near these guys? They certainly need less draws, but with the division as it is, we know that Pulis, even if it stays the same, where it's kind of inconsistent, bumpy from Boro, still going to stay up there because they're the most consistent team. So, interested to see how that pans out. Wigan are dropping like a stone. Worried about Wigan and Bolton at the moment. 4th defeat on the trot, 1 win in 8. There is a caveat though, those 8 games, they have played West Brom, Sheffield United, Leeds and Boro. So are they destined for this bottom third, or can they sort themselves out, get that home form going and maybe easier run of games and they'll push back into the middle? I said home win, second one. Correct. Where's this come from? West Brom 4, Leeds 1. As if by magic, West Brom are crap for a few weeks and they go banging 4 goals on Sky against Leeds. So 4 second half goals. Robson Kanu, Phillips, Barnes, and a lovely creative backheel by Dwight Gale. It's like the halcyon days of a month ago where I had Barnes, Gale and Rodriguez, one of them to score every game. Hernandez with a consolation goal at the end. I don't know where that came from West Brom. And it makes Darren Moore even more a confusing manager, that it kind of came out of nowhere. I'm still wondering whether his players are getting him out of this or whether he is some kind of excellent manager. I don't know. I guess we're going to find out as the season rolls on. Certainly going to make his life a bit easier. If they say lost that one, everyone would say, oh, West Brom are bang out of form and he's not doing a good job with those players. So, do we now see another high-scoring run of victories from West Brom as they go? I guess they'd probably want to play Tuesday if they could. Now they've got that one out of the way. So 2 weeks off, probably not going to suit them. And guess who they've got when they get back? Yes, Ipswich. So they're nicely set up in form to play my team. So interested to see now how West Brom goes. Is it the players carrying this, or is it Darren Moore? Leeds, I'm sorry, I'm still not convinced by this. Love Bielsa, love Hernandez, great player. I like Calvin Phillips being used at the back there as this kind of sweepery, playmakery guy, but they're inconsistent. You know, they don't put together back-to-back wins since August, and since the end of August, they've only beaten Preston, Hull, Ipswich and Wigan. They are not doing it in the difficult games, and I think they're surviving on the good start and, as I keep saying, the inconsistency of everybody else. There's not one team on 2 points per game, let alone 2 and then a chase for those 2. So also looking at Leeds, possible playoff finish, and they're not doing it in the difficult games. That doesn't bode well. I think they've got another level to reach to prove it to me. But let me know what you think in the comments. I said draw. I was wrong. Sheffield Derby. Sheffield 0, Sheffield United 0, Sheffield Wednesday 0. I was at this game, so do check out full review of that elsewhere in the channel down there or there, wherever you're watching, on your phone or on your laptop. Sheffield United, along with Norwich, I would say, are the other team punching above the weight in the top 6. If you look at the spends of Norwich and Sheffield United, nowhere near those other guys in there, particularly on wages, you would have thought now, especially considering Norwich have cleared out a lot of their Premier League contracts. The narrative for this game was it was Sheffield United attacking, Sheffield Wednesday defending. Sheffield United didn't quite create enough clear-cut chances to win the game, despite that penalty missed by McGoldrick on 13. And for Sheffield Wednesday, now, is that a temporary extension for Josh Lukai? Is he going to lose another few games and get fired? Be interesting to see what happens, because a lot of people thought he was a dead man walking going into this game. But they showed character, they showed spirit, they got the point. I said home win, probably like the rest of the world on that one, and was wrong. Derby 0, Villa 3, classic Championship this. So Derby looking really good form. Villa bedding in, probably want to get through this game and then do a bit more training with Dean Smith as the new coach. So what do we get? 3-0 away win. I looked at the stats, it wasn't a smash and grab either. Seems like the possession and the shot count and all of the thing were in Villa's favour, so I don't know quite where that came from. Bit of a left foot masterclass here at the end of the game. 3 goals. McGinn heads a lovely crossing from Balassi. Abraham gets his 5th goal. He's ticking along nicely. 5 goals in 11 games. You roll that out and you're 17, 18 by the end of the season, given that he didn't start the season at Villa. Beautiful free kick by Hurahan. Great stuff from Villa, and they're going to be pretty optimistic now. Smith has had 5 games. He's won 3 of them, clean sheets in all of the victories. And we know that style of football. It's not defensive, but if you're a possession-high team, you tend to have a good defensive record because you have the ball so much. You don't give away chances. So not in Middlesbrough way, we've just got this excellent row of defenders. So that bodes well. The 2 defeats both came away from home, both form teams, Norwich and QPR. So 2-week break, and then they've got the Derby against Birmingham, which I'm going to be out. Really looking forward to that one. Derby are kind of at the end of a run, like Birmingham and QPR were last week, where you would say that look, they've got to be happy with where they're going. Lampard seems to have got his feet under the table, seems to know what he's doing. The team seems to have a personality, and hopefully they can write this one off and move on, because they were looking really, really good. And perhaps the old cliche, they just ran out of steam at the end of a run of games, we can throw it in there. I thought they'd win. I said home win. Wrong again. Forest 0, Stoke 0. Karanka versus Rowett goes exactly the same way as Pulis versus Rowett. Big fat 0-0 stamped all over it. Forest are on the edge of the playoffs in 7th, and like Boro, they've only lost 2 league games this season. The elephant in the room is 9 draws. There's still the Karanka too pragmatic thing holding them back. They're like Boro with less wins, and Stoke are like Forest but with more defeats. They're the 3 real pragmatic teams there, the hard to beat ones. Very tight and organised, but a little unspectacular, I have to say, Stoke. But I've seen Rowett's teams for a long while, and that's the way they are. Very, very solid and pragmatic. 1 defeat in 8 though is impressive. I keep saying the slow climb, but still in 14th, and you need wins. I said draw. It was a draw. We expected that to happen. Bolton down to 23rd now. Lost 1-0 at home to Swansea. 3rd win in 4 for Potter at Swansea. They're looking a bit back to their old self. Barry Mackay smashing in the winner there on 15 minutes. Swansea look well set. I've talked about Bonnie and Montero a lot. They both made substitute cameos. I know game minutes are more important than 2 weeks off or whatever. So I don't know whether they'll even start when we get back. Maybe they'll still be used, because I think it's a 3-game week as soon as we get back as well. So maybe it will still be subs for those. But that's going to balance up that team lovely. And like I've said, I've been looking forward to seeing James, McBurney and Bonnie up there. That looks good. James still looking in good form. When they get back though, Swansea have got Norwich, West Brom and Derby. So that'll be an interesting 3 games for them. Bolton you have to be very worried about now. They're in rotten form. The credit, I kept talking about credit from the good start. That's disappeared because they're 23rd now. So they're moving. They need to move upwards rather than worry about teams being worse below them. 6 defeats in 7 games, 1 win in 13, and only good old Ipswich below them in the table. I said away win. I was correct. Bolton fans, if you're watching in the comments, where's the win coming from? Because the worry I've got, having seen Bolton at Villa last week, is the team functioning as they're being asked to, and they're just not good enough, because they seem to be doing the right things in that game, but the wins are not coming, which would be very worrying for Mr. Parkinson. Blackburn won, Rotherham won. Yes, all the Rotherham subscribers are going to laugh at me again because I get Rotherham wrong yet again. Rotherham continue their good run of form. Took the lead in this one on 76. Maybe they'd even be disappointed not to win this one, only to be pegged back 5 minutes later. If I told you it was going to be 1-1, I think most people would have guessed Smith for Rotherham, Dak for Blackburn. Dak now 10 goals in all competitions. He's a great player. I think 24 years old as well. Definitely a high value player there. Blackburn nice and steady in 9th place. They're just shooting above 1.5 points per game, which the 1.5 we know gets you 69 by the end of the season, which is good. It's just, I keep saying, does that get sold and that ruin everything? Because you then have to invest in January, say if you get sold in January, and try and put new players in. That would be a worry if I was a Blackburn fan. But if I was a Blackburn fan, I'd be a lot happier than being an Ipswich fan. Rotherham keep proving me wrong, much to the amusement, like I say, of the subscribers on here. I love what they're doing. They seem to be playing to their potential without patronising them. They've got the 3 away draws recently to add to their collection of the home wins. 5 unbeaten, 2 points above the line. Can they keep it up? Because there is the sense that, really with Rotherham, there is the sense that for their potential, they've been pretty good all season for 17 games now. You know, Rotherham have not had a bad run considering their spend and their squad. So the worry is when the bad run comes, you've only got 2 points above the line. But when I make these predictions, I'm just saying what I think is going to happen. I do like what Rotherham's doing, and if you look on my Twitter, I did meet Paul Warne in Milton Keynes at the start of the season, so I'm a fan there. So I'm not making these predictions out of any malice. I said home win, and yet again, because it's Rotherham, I was wrong. QPR 3, Brentford 2, another 5 goals in the Championship, and both teams, we thought it switched around last week. QPR ended a long good run, and Brentford ended a long bad run, but they've switched straight back round with Rangers winning and Brentford losing here. Mopai gives Brentford the lead, his 12th of the season, but he goes off injured before half-time. He does remember have 2 weeks to recover. I think that was a concussion rather than anything muscular, so although not desirable, he should probably be back. We'll find out on Monday. Rangers blitzed them then in the second half to go from 1-1 down to 3-1 up. Luongo, Lynch and Wells before Dalsgaard pulls one back on 81. QPR sitting nicely, trending upwards in 10th place. 1 defeat in 7. Great job by Steve McLaren. These people that look from the outside and, you know, a picture of him with a brolly for England. That was a long time ago, and he's done a lot of good work there. And okay, he may not be Pep Guardiola or he may not be a Premier League manager, but stick him in the Championship. Steve McLaren knows what the hell he's doing by the looks of it. Brentford, other than the win over Millwall, they're like Wigan and Bolton, they're in terrible form. 1 win in 11, dropped down to 15th. Need to come back strong. We have seen this over the years, though, with Brentford under this this ownership and this style. They do go on these weird runs, so you wouldn't be surprised if they came back and were unbeaten in the next 9 or whatever. But they're only going one way at the moment, and they need to sort that out. I said draw, wrong again. Birmingham 3, Hull 3. Another million goals here. So we had a 7-goal game and a 5-goal game. Here's our 6-goal game. Blues were 2-0 up at half-time, 3-2 down by 73 minutes, and then equalised again on 84. 2 for Campbell, hat-trick for Adams. Some really Championship goals in this. I think the Hull centre-halves can hang their heads in shame for the first couple of goals. But Grzycki's free kick for 3-2, that was a beauty. So that kind of evens that out, I hope. Birmingham, slight drop-off. They got 1 point from the last 2 games, but they were superb before that. They sit in 12th, and it's only that slow start that's kind of, I won't say falsifying their position, but they'd feel after that great run that they should be higher than that, but the table doesn't lie. That front 2 as well. Jukovic, 9 goals. Adams, 8 goals. What a threat those 2 are as well, because you can't concentrate on one because the other will score. Both of them have scored hat-tricks in recent weeks as well. Hull have got to be heartened by the last 3 games. 7 points there, great stuff. Campbell in form, he's scored in all 3 of those games. 4 goals in 3 for him. Still in the bottom 3 though, so they need to kick on. But some evidence that they can win games, unlike some teams down the bottom that I'm going to come on to. I said home win, wrong again. Bristol City 0, Preston 1. Preston finally seem to have dragged themselves out of the sort of bottom area now, and they've hit the gold standard, 12 points from the last 6. So that is 2 points per game. Only Norwich better. Norwich, Birmingham, QPR better over that period. Robinson in form, 8th of the season for him. He gets the winner. Bristol City, it's boring. I talk about streaks every time I come on, but here we go again. It was 2 wins, and now we're on the 3rd defeat. And I just wonder where this is going under Johnson, because he cuts a bit of a smug figure sometimes. Then he loses a lot. Then he wins a lot, and you know, stadium's nice there. There's been investment. I just wonder where this is going now. He's been there a while. They're bang in the middle of the table. Are they going upwards or downwards? Answers in the comments there. I said draw. Wrong. Again, last one. Reading 2, Ipswich 2. I was there. Once again, please check out that review for a more detailed take on it than I'm about to give you. But this was the best first half performance by Ipswich I've seen in God knows how long. They were massively aggressive. They went 1-0 up. Reading then immediately scored again. Great goal from Mote. That was their only attacking play in the whole first half. Ipswich should have been 2 goals clear by half time, and that was the fatal error from them. Excellent first half, but then they ran out of steam in the second half, and Reading get the equaliser on 83. Lots of positives for Ipswich, but you need to start winning some of these games. They've encouraging signs for Lambert. The best case scenario for Ipswich is that you kick on from that and you then start to win a couple of games, but the doomsday scenario is that's the best he can do with those players, and they're actually going to tail off and the wins aren't going to come. We'll see. Reading looked really bad in the first half, but picked up in the second half, and they've got a goal scorer, Mote. He's a big, cumbersome fella, but he can finish beautifully, as he proved for the first goal. I said draw. I was correct. So 5th prediction correct for the week. So we go away now. It's the international break. I guess if you're a Norwich fan, a QPR fan, a Preston fan, a Birmingham fan, you're happy. If you're an Ipswich fan, a Bolton fan, a Wigan fan, or a Brentford fan, you're pretty unhappy. This is where things go down, though. 9 games between November 23rd and January the 1st in the FA Cup. So it'll be harum scarum till then. Please keep up with the content on here. I'll try and keep up with all the fixtures as they come, thick and fast, as they like to say, over Christmas. Thumbs up if you watched the show and you enjoyed it. Get involved in the comments. I'm an Ipswich fan. I see as many games as I can. But if you're a Preston fan, you know more about Preston than I do. So smarten me up down there. Let's keep it civil and grown up, though we know how YouTube can be. Follow me on Twitter at Benjamin Bloom. And I'll be back tonight with the Blue Monday podcast, and then we'll come up with some ideas for the Football List International 2 weeks. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you all those people who have subscribed. Really enjoying doing this and really enjoying all the feedback. See you soon.